Hello again to my many audiences, online and otherwise. My name's Dennis Seatsma, Dennis John Seatsma Productions, Homestead, Florida. In this video, we'll talk a little bit about the sad, tragic day that you realize your home air conditioning or heating system is not working properly. Now, the causes are many. So first thing you want to do is call all of your local service companies and take notes and see who shows up first. Now, when the service company shows up to give you an assessment, don't tell them you're affluent. Don't tell them I want a whole new system. I'm tired of this thing breaking down. Don't do that. And I'll tell you why in either this video or subsequent videos. But tell them I'm poor and I need my system working right away, if not sooner, to make my family and myself comfortable in my home. Which modern houses are designed, modern homes, for modern systems. So when your 30 or 40-year-old hot water heater or air conditioner or whatever goes out, may be a good time to invest in your home. And investing in your home is a good idea if you can get a return on the investment. And we could go off on a tangent at this point, but I'm going to stay on subject for once. But anyway, I worked at Miami International Airport and all the airports around the air traffic control systems in Florida and several other states. And as a consequence, they all had air conditioning or heating or environmental systems that required a number of skills, like patching the roof in an emergency or after a hurricane. And I did all those things. So that doesn't make me an expert, but it means I have experience responding to emergencies. So anyway, you call all these companies and you see who shows up first. Don't tell them you're affluent. Say, how much is it going to cost to fix this? And I don't have any money. I may look affluent, but I've got mortgages and bills to pay. And I got to deal with this problem efficiently. And money is the grease that gets work done. And you only have so much grease. But if you want a new system, say, yeah, you can give me a quote, but I really need a repair, a low buck, get me through summer, get me through winter repair. That's how you should approach it, and ask for an estimate, and ask about warranty. Ask if the company's for sale, because warranties are no good if the company gets sold and it changes hands. And ask any affiliations with the Chamber of Commerce, Better Business Bureau. Get the license number. So, and after I tell you the basic stuff about getting estimates, we'll launch into some scams. And I respect the professionals and artisans in every industry and every service. The work is not easy. Some of these houses are filthy dirty. They're in high crime areas where you could get shot or robbed if you go in to do a service call. It's not easy providing home services. And when I was young and skinny, 17 years old, 16 years old in 1972, 73, I did cable TV installs. And I felt perfectly safe, even working in high crime areas, because, I was nice to people, they were nice to me. And working around Miami International Airport on a holiday weekend at night, gunshots came out, and random gunshots are really dangerous. But I did that kind of work because the airport was 24/7 and knew no holidays. People coming, going, safe conduct. And all of those systems relied on air conditioning or heating to keep the equipment either cool or within normal range. And anyway, it's your home, people. This is where you live. But you need to have it cooled and heated properly. And hot and cold water's nice, and sanitation and all these other things that you need in a residential safe situation, which is the focus of this group. Now, I know some of you may not have experience contracting. So once you find a company you like, don't give them half of the repair estimate. It won't get you fixed any faster. And if they need to order the equipment, say, hey, I'm hot, I'm cold. When will I get this service performed? If you put a deposit down that's 50% and they're not going to do it for a month or a week, what good are they? Get the other company. And one of my former FAA colleagues, when he left FAA, he started his own heating and cooling, and he called it another company. Call another company. And I've lost contact with him. I hope he's well. And I've known several people that have started service companies, and they start with an air conditioning or plumbing or some service, and then they branch out. They get into plumbing after air conditioning, and then they get into electrical. And next thing you know, they got 5 companies for a given area. And some of the business people are very reputable and honest and will give you really what you're after as a consumer is, you have to pay something, but you don't have to be exploited because you're a victim of circumstance. You're at the whims of nature when your home isn't cooled or heated properly. And, you may have other consequences from your family members, especially if there's health conditions. Now that I've said respect the professionals, and if you're unhappy with their services, think about who in the world can help you most. It's the very same people that you hired, the people you trusted with your fine money. Obviously, to start a job, they need to buy equipment. But do they need 50%? I doubt it. If you knew the markup on this equipment, it would knock your socks off in amazement. And if you think I'm lying, go try to buy the equipment, just the equipment, from any source. Now, obviously, you don't want to buy equipment that's fallen off a truck. You want to have equipment that you can register with the manufacturer, so the warranty is good. So think about that. Where am I going to buy equipment? Well, I'll leave it to you to look it up, Google it. Who sells the equipment? Where can I get a 3-ton system? Do I need what I have now, or do I need a mini split? Mini splits, I think a gifted person could install themselves, or find somebody that for a few bucks will deal with whatever they can't deal with, like doing the soldering if there is any, or welding, or brazing, or refrigerant. Now, if you want to impress people when talking to these various companies, use the terms they use. The unit outside is a condenser. The unit inside is an air handler that has another coil in it and motor. If it's a mini split, then it's a different story. So you have to learn the terms. But if you say Freon, already you've put your foot in your mouth. Call it refrigerant. And the history of refrigerant is amazing. William Carrier gets credited for a lot of stuff, but if he did anything, it's because there were people before him in refrigeration and different refrigerants. And as an engineer, I'm an electrical engineer, electronic, semi-retired, looking for high-paying work. If anybody needs my skills within the commuting area, I pretty much cover Florida and surrounding states if the money's right. But anyway, I can do so many things that people don't know I can do if I'm called upon, especially for inventions. I'm an inventor as well. And boy, to get some of my stuff through FAA engineering and management was incredibly difficult. But I do have success stories to share, but they're long stories. And we don't have time for that. We want to stay on subject. Number one, don't impress them that you're affluent. Say, I got bills. And number two, tell them I'm poor. I need a repair. I'm poor. I'm not advantaged just because I live in this fine neighborhood. I have bills to pay. I have kids to educate. I have mortgages to pay. I have car payments. I need this fixed on the cheap. Give me some options, experts, because you have, now don't think that the first one's going to arrive may be a salesman, may have no technical skills, but they'll give you some gaslighting, bamboozle stories that'll convince you you need new equipment. And new equipment, don't be surprised if it's $8,000 for a 3-ton system. And the date I have on my calendar is Thursday, August 13th, 2026. So prices vary, but a 3-ton system for $8,000 is pretty much ballpark. If it's a smaller system or you want to make it a bigger system, and don't forget the ductwork. Some of this ductwork is horrible, especially on cookie cutter home. Talk to them about flex duct and compare that with the other duct options. And I'm not going to get into those because this video would be too long if I had to explain ductwork. But duct work has to be efficient in systems that have ductwork. That's some of the advantages of the mini splits. You can have an electrician come in and give you an estimate as opposed to the air conditioning company. To say, I want to redo this place. It's 50 years old, 40 years old. I'm thinking about mini splits so I can better control my electric bill and I can better control the temperatures in the different rooms and ductless systems. And now we're talking mini splits. Mini splits are very popular in other parts of the world that I've traveled to, like the Philippines, Hong Kong, Italy, Greece, other places in the world. That's all they do is mini splits. Because, a mini split can be replaced very easily. The systems you see in the United States, usually for residential, is you may have one or two condensers outside, and you may have one or two air handlers. And where the air handlers were put is very important for the cost to repair or replace. Some places they put the air handler in the attic. Very difficult for the repair company to come in and replace or repair. But it gives you maximum square footage. Other home systems, if they were custom homes, it's in a closet somewhere for just the air handler. It has its own closet. And if they were smart, all of the lines were run in PVC, so they can be replaced easily. A lot of the cookie cutter construction, they treat the plumbing and the electric. They could have put it in PVC for the future homeowner, but no, they got to bury it direct in concrete, and they fail to protect it according to local codes. Now, I can't tell you around the world what the codes are, but here in the United States, we have a national code. We have a state code, we have county codes, we have local codes, and all codes have to be adhered to for the best outcome. And I'm having a little difficulty speaking, so please excuse my mental tics when I have to stop for a minute speaking. But anyway, now that I told you how to react to the emergency, call everybody. Don't sign a contract. If you do want to sign a contract, because I like this person. Yeah, it may be a salesman, not a tech. So ask questions. Are you in sales or are you a tech? If you're a tech, how much experience do you have? Now, for example, if you get a tech that's worked on Linux systems or Carrier systems or any of the big boys, the major brands, for 40 years, they will know things that the tech that has been working only for a year or two in the field will know. So I'm not saying to discriminate against age, because young minds, young ideas, and they'll know about the newer thermostats like the Nest or any others you might want to name. And I don't like to pick on names, but the major companies require major dollars, and some of them, and that's what you should ask the tech. If this thing breaks, can I buy parts from my local center so I can fix it myself? Or do I have to be a dealer for Lennox? Do I have to be a dealer for Carrier? Do I have to be a dealer for Rude? Do I have to be a dealer for any of the other names you might, Goodman, any of the other brands you might want to talk about? And there's zillions of people that make the equipment. So you need to know as a consumer, do I have to pay for a Dave Lennox part? Or can I go on eBay and get it? And can I repair it myself? Like if my contactor goes out, can I call in a local electrician? He's cheaper than the HVAC guy, and the electrician's easier to find during the peak summer or winter months. So call who can help you best. But if you have a complaint, never, ever burn your bridges. Don't. Because the person who can help you most is the one that you paid already, that you're unhappy with. And they don't want a consumer to file a formal complaint against their company, because those require time away from fixing things and in court or talking to consumer protection. Now, my experience may be different from yours, but in all my years of dealing with consumer protection complaints, they're feckless. They can't help you. They have no money. They have no resources. They don't have the knowledge how to fix your brand X system. They don't know how to fix your gold standard system, your Trains, your Lennoxes, your Carriers, the ones you pay the most for. Your consumer affair in the county or state, they don't have the resources or the technical knowledge. The one that can help you is whoever made the equipment, their dealer network. So if you have a problem with Lennox, and I've had problems with Lennox, I write corporate and I send a copy to whoever my provider is. Now, that's only if I'm really upset and I've already talked to the local and they said, hoo hoo, sky is blue, hoo, I don't know you, but I took your money. Talk to whoever it is that can help you first, which is your local. So that's the human being part of relations, that if you're not accustomed, I'll file a complaint with the state or the county. Yeah, you can write a letter to the White House too, and I do. And some of the responses are amazing. And if I have a problem with law enforcement, I talk to the people I can vote for. And law enforcement jumps through hoops. And I don't have an axe to grind with law enforcement. Law enforcement's going to help me first. Fire, rescue, my hat's off to people in public service. And as an FAA employee, it was public service that I did, but nobody knew who I was or what I did for the airport. All I knew is the lights stayed on, all the systems were working, the flights weren't delayed except maybe for weather or acts of God, tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes, etc., etc. And I would be first on the job to recover after a hurricane or earthquake. We help the Haitian people in Port-au-Prince as quickly as we were authorized by the people with the checkbooks. You got to wait for the White House to act or speak. And, in the case of the Haitian earthquake, they were waiting for France. And France did, yoo-hoo, yoo-hoo, I don't know, yoo-hoo, sadly. And that's the situation with a lot of nations in Caribbean nations, Central and South America, that I worked in or provided assistance to. I do great technical support online without actually having to go there. I can get them the information they need to recover quickly. A good friend of mine is a professional engineer, a civil engineer, and between he and I, but he actually was boots on the ground in the Port-au-Prince earthquake, and it was horrible what happened in that. Of all the national disasters, I think earthquakes are the worst, and I've been through a major hurricane or two and recovered from it. But anyway, back to the air conditioning. Hang on to your money, people, especially after a hurricane. People will take the 50% and you'll never see them again. And then you go to law enforcement's crying, I need help. And they said, it's called crime. We'll do what we can, but you're still out your money. And the insurance company paid, so they aren't going to write another check. They've already paid. So when it comes to natural disasters, be very careful who you do business with. And there's an old saying about a fool and their money. But, in the case of Hurricane Andrew, people actually thought, if I give a 50% deposit, I'll get it done quicker. I'll be back in my house by Christmas. And you were foolish to try, because the prices lowered like a stone after New Year's Day in Andrew. I was able to get materials, contractors, because my initial response was, my family and I will suffer some. So we lived as best we could, and stayed in the area after Hurricane Andrew. And my house didn't suffer as badly because it was a custom home and I was an owner builder, and I had extra steel, I had extra pressure treated lumber, I didn't cut corners when I built her. So that was in 1984, And in 1992, we had a major hurricane. So how many years from 84 to 92? So the house didn't suffer as badly as the cookie cutter. They actually had tie beams in the cookie cutters come off and kill people. A tie beam is a massive piece of concrete that is supposed to sit on top of the CBS block and not come off in a hurricane. But in the cookie cutters, they didn't put the nails. You're supposed to have 45 nails on every sheet of plywood. They're supposed to have tie-down straps. They didn't have to keep the rafters. And on my house, I knew a guy in construction, and he was a quality builder of custom homes. And he's retired since, so I won't mention his name. But he found, if you put extra 2x4s on the trusses, they won't scissor on you when one gable end fails. And if I could do it over again, if I had the money, I'd go with a hip roof instead of a gable end. The gable ends hold a lot of wind pressure in a hurricane. And the gable ends, now I saw houses in Hawaii, the gable ends, the hip roofs failed too if the wind got in the house. So that's why you need quality hurricane protection. But these are all things you have to deal with if you're a homeowner. But a home is your biggest investment as a young person. And most people will start with a starter home and make the realtors happy and then move to, as they became more affluent or they had more children, they would go from a 1 bedroom, 1 bath to 2 bedroom, 2 bath to a 5 bedroom, 3 bath, or 5 bedroom, 2 bath. And every time you buy and sell a piece of real estate, the realtors get a chunk. Typically in Florida, it's about 6%. So anyway, a lot of things you do when you have an emergency with heat or cooling, but call everybody and try to give them the minimum deposit and say, when will this happen? And ask for a repair estimate. Now, they might give you an estimate for 30% of a new system. So you have to weigh that. Do I want new equipment, or do I want to repair this equipment? Or do I want to buy the equipment myself and have somebody else install it once the equipment's on site? And you can do that trick with a hot water heater, because if a plumber shows up and you've got it spec'd right, and goodness knows if it's spec'd right, but hey, you got 30 days to return it if you buy it at the home center and you lug it home and you don't damage it. And that's the other thing, trying to get something into your house that's not damaged is a challenge. So all of these things I'll tell you from my experience. And thumbs up, people, if anything useful in here, in this rant. But in the next video, we'll talk about fraudsters and gaslighters and people that will convince you that you need a new system when all you needed was a contactor replaced. All you needed was a pound of refrigerant. Or worse yet, they put in too much refrigerant because they want to sell you. They're buying the refrigerant for pennies and selling it for dollars. Believe me, the markup is incredible. But in recent years, there's been a renaissance of right to repair. Consumers are tired of being held over the barrel by providers of services. You could do your own plumbing, you could do your own electric, but it has to be to code, and you have to pull the permits or suffer consequences of law. Or if, God forbid, something goes terribly wrong, you could have death or injury to your loved ones, or a lawsuit if not done right. So the companies you hire all take these risks of death or injury. Well, I've been talking for 30 minutes now, and people hate long videos. So in the next sequence, we'll talk about fraudsters and gamsters and gamers and gaslighters that the salesman will do to you when you have your heating and cooling not working, or your plumbing, or and we'll talk about policies that aren't worth the money. But you only find that out, you pay for a policy 30 years or 20 years or 5 years, and then you call them up and they're like, yoo-hoo, yoo-hoo, we don't know you. Or it's not covered because of blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so then you get angry and you write corporate. I find writing a traditional, well-crafted letter, or even a letter that's not well-crafted, let them hear from you. Write corporate. They will survey you to death, and you don't get any action. But if you write a well-crafted letter, and you can even have an attorney do it for you. I don't know why attorneys turn up their nose when asked to do that, but maybe they can explain it to you. But a well-crafted letter from anybody to corporate, of any corporation, will get your attention. I saw Burger King recently put up a phone number where you can talk to the head person in corporate named Tom. Now, if I can get them to pay attention to me, that's another thing. I want them to, put unsweetened tea in the value meals on the app. Burger King, if you're listening, Dennis wants you to do that, please. Because I order unsweetened tea all the time, and I need it in the value meals using the smartphone app. And that's the other situation. Always ask questions and be willing to talk to people old and young who are willing to share with you so you can enjoy your best life. And people, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, your best life. I use the term Godspeed, assuming that everybody knows what I mean when I say Godspeed or cheers. I'm wishing you your best life, your healthiest life, your happiest life, your most joyful life. Because people go through their whole life suffering because they don't ask questions or ask for help. Or if they do ask for help, they go to therapists. And I've been to therapists. Boy, do you get fleeced. Now, I am trying to lose weight. I am confident in my appearance is not what I'd like it to be. But I'm a work in progress, people, and I hope this video in some way helps somebody. And in the next video, we'll talk about the scams and the fraudsters and the gaslighters. But whatever you do, don't burn your bridges with the people who can best help you. And those are the ones you gave your money to. They don't want bad press. They don't want, they're trying to build a company so one day they can sell it. Or they can pass it on as a family endeavor or enterprise or initiative. People put their blood, sweat, and tears into these service companies and deserve to reap the benefits. One guy I know, he's a good friend. He started a service company in Miami-Dade, Florida, and then he moved up to the Smoky Mountains. Well, he ended up with 5 different companies, and he sold all of them. And one of them was a real estate company, and did very well. Unfortunately, the man's health is fragile. And that's where your real wealth is. Your health is your wealth. So talk to your doctors. and listen to them. If they say alcohol's no good for you, or any other substances that you use to cope with the frustrations of life, listen to your doctors. Talk to your preachers, your religious leaders about your problems. And they may not be able to help you directly, but they might say, talk to Tony, or talk to Joan, or talk to Jane. And we all have trials in life, trials and blessings. And I hope that I'm a blessing to my audiences, because I hope that you have your best life just with me talking to you like an old Dutch uncle. Well, I am Dutch, very Dutch. And I was mentoring in Miami-Dade County Public Schools, and some of the young guys, they really wanted a father in their family. They wanted it so bad. They were in one-parent homes, and they wanted a father and a mother. And no matter how the single parents did, they wanted joy and peace and tranquility and a stable home. And, some of them begged me to do that for them. And I'm like, no, I can't be your daddy. It would be a joy to me if I could, but I can't be your daddy. And, but if you look for good people in life that will help you with the trials, like an air conditioning or heating failure, you'll find them. Seek and you'll find. I can't tell you how many people have been a blessing to me, especially my friends in the trades, the plumbers, the electricians, the air conditioning, and they're not all out to scam you, but there are many that say, this person is affluent, and I need money in the bank for my pension fund. I need money in the bank to educate my children. I need money in the bank to do that home improvement. So, they have to take whatever advantage they find, but sometimes they take too much advantage because they think you're affluent because you've got a new car, and they think you're affluent because you've got a new power mower, and they think you're affluent because you have new rugs in the living room. But you're not affluent. You got mortgages, so you got to manage the griefs. Every penny has to be well managed. Well, we're almost at 40 minutes now, so I'm going to stop talking. And in my next video, I'll move on to the gaslighters and the ones that will pick your pocket. You need to go to another company. You need to get another estimate. Don't sign the contract until you're comfortable that the work will be done on time and that you have a way to take reprisals if you have to, but stay out of court if you can. Court, you wouldn't believe the people you'll meet in court. It's sad. It's really sad, the people that go into the legal. They don't know physics. They don't know electricity. They don't know plumbing. They don't know your suffering as a parent dealing with a grandchild with autism, or a grandchild who's gifted with Asperger's syndrome. Asperger's can be a gift if well managed. So I think I've said enough for my audience. I've spent almost 40 minutes trying to help you. And I hope my videos do help. But next video, we'll talk about scam, fraudsters, and gaslighters in home services. Ta-ta for now. Thumbs up, anything good? Please like, share, and subscribe. I need subscribers. Thank you. Can I stop it? I hit the button.